What's going on, fellas? This is the Area 210 podcast coming at you from not only San Antonio, Texas, but I guess I'm Space City Mike right now. I'm calling from Conroe, Texas right now. What's going on, everybody? The chat lines are open. Powered to you by MCS General Contracting. Good morning to Matt Lerma, first in the building, Tony Ornelas, Sam Salinas, Charlie Hernandez, Roy, Albert Lopez, Tex-Mex Frank, already in the house right now. We're talking sports, pop culture, nostalgia. We're talking a lot about Stephon Castle, man, coming out party this weekend at NBA All-Star Weekend, making San Antonio proud. But do you know who did not make San Antonio proud, or at least not me, not Joe? Victor Wembanyama and Chris Paul. What the hell was that? We have a lot to get into today. You know, the stores that we knew growing up, Joe, are coming to an end, man. So many closures announced over the weekend. Party City being one of them. Party City is sinking like the Titanic right now. We'll get into that. Weather's going to be changing as well. Going to get kind of chilly. And Joe, people are going to need to warm up a little bit because, nothing warms the body like a little bit of bourbon, Joe.
Oh,
this weekend, rain or shine, we're doing karaoke, Joe. How's it going this morning, my man?
I'm doing good, man. I can't wait to kind of start getting into what we thought our thoughts on the debacle that was the NBA All-Star Weekend. For better or for worse, it's gonna be moving now from TNT, and I saw some of the comments right now from some of the listeners, and they're like, the grass isn't always greener. It might get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they had Kevin Hart on there, and he was annoying as hell. And then you had the debacle that was the San Antonio Spurs, skills challenge with Wemby, CP3. But I got to say, despite all that, I mean, Stephon Castle, he really did shine in the NBA All-Star Weekend. Yeah.
So are we going to talk about Castle first, or are we going to talk about Wemby and Chris?
No, let's talk about Wemby first. Let's get into it.
Okay, that was Bush League, dude. and it's funny because I posted on Twitter the night that it happened. I posted a poll on Twitter with 669 votes, Joe. People were passionate about this topic. It was a very simple question. Should the NBA fine Victor Wembanyama and Chris Paul for making a mockery and getting disqualified from the skills challenge at NBA All-Star Weekend? So for those of you who did not see, the skills challenge has a handful of teams out there, right? And we had Wemby and Chris Paul taking part. They flew all the way to San Francisco to take part in this, right? And they went through their challenges. They went through station to station to station. But when it came time to shoot the ball, they just started chunking the ball up at the rim, right? Chris Paul wasn't even throwing the ball at the rim. He was just throwing the ball at the support, right? No attempt to make any buckets in an attempt to finish fastest, right? And to circumvent whatever rules are in place for a skills challenge, right? Immediately, the crowd started booing. Immediately, some of the NBA players started doing thumbs down. Okay? So if Wemby and Chris Paul thought this was cute, the instantaneous reaction from people in the crowd, including from fellow NBA players, was, what the F was that? Okay? Now, I have this poll out, and 91% of Spurs fans said, not a big deal, not a big deal. They would have allowed it if it was Luka or LeBron doing it. They would have given him the prize, saying that you circumvented the rules. You're just smart because of it. Dude, it's funny because you saw not only myself, but you complained about it. Rudy J complained about it. Mike Taylor from In the Building, both of them from In the Building, complained about it, Joe. And you know what the thing about it is this, is that you and I are kind of trained, okay, because you have a journalistic appeal to yourself. Mike Taylor does, Rudy J does, so do I. We are trained to see things analytically. We're trained to see things away from the silver and black goggles, right? The fan goggles.
Yeah.
We try to be as objective as possible, right? Anybody who had any sense of objectivity, anybody who was not a Spurs fan, thought that was Bush League. Why go out there and compete if you're going to do that? And this whole idea that Draymond Green comes out and says, well, Wemby and CP3 checked with the league and said it was going to be okay for them to do it and all that stuff. Well, if it was okay to do it, why were they disqualified? And who the hell made Draymond Green Walter Cronkite? Okay? Who made him some fantastic journalist? And the idea that they got permission, all that, says who? Says who? I mean, I'm not trying to say that there needs to be a big investigation into this, but I can see a load of crap from a mile away. Yeah. And Spurs fans were like, they were just smart about it. They were just smart about it. It's the spirit of the rule. We complain about our guys not getting enough pub, right? We were invited out there. I remember back in the day when you had Duncan, Robinson, Becky Hammond, and Parker winning a skills challenge, and that was great, right? That was fantastic. They made that half-court shot to win it all and all that stuff, and they started celebrating. Instead, we see Wemby and Chris Paul look like entitled little bitches. That's what they look like. And Spurs fans are going to get all panties in a bunch, Joe, because I said that. But panties in a bunch. But you know what? Everybody else who's an NBA fan saw that and went, that was stupid. That was stupid. That was entitled. Speaking of entitled, the All-Star Game's broken, Joe. All those players are entitled.
This is the thing, my take on what happened at the skills challenge with Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama. They're like, oh, they asked around. They were asking NBA executives. That's stupid. Why would you ask an NBA executive that doesn't write the rules? Right. They're probably in the front office doing other things. They don't know what's going on with the rule book. They don't read it. And it's funny because even before the skills challenge started, I was just kind of looking, scouring the internet, looking at, okay, this is who's competing in the skills challenge. This is what's going on for this weekend, right? The NBA All-Star weekend. And everything it was fan-sided that had all the rules, right, for the NBA skills challenge. And it clearly states in there that you have to attempt a shot. It doesn't tell you that you have to make, let's say attempt a shot at every single, I guess station that they have, which is like, the stripe, you're shooting a free throw, you're going to go ahead and do a layup or whatever, shoot a 3-pointer or whatever. It just says that you have to do a shot attempt. You have to take at least one shot, right? That's right. What the rules say. So if they had at least attempted a shot, right, just at least one shot, they could have just done exactly what they wanted and hack the skills challenge, right? But since he didn't read the rules, he read a book apparently before every game. Okay. You talk to NBA executives. How about your stupid ass actually reads the fucking rules? How about that? Right.
Well, how about you do what the spirit of the game is? Keep in mind, there are 20,000 people there who paid a lot of money to be at All-Star Weekend, right? Yeah. You have this on national TV, and you decide to make an ass out of yourself. And I see a lot of people, because I'm still with you, Sohan, Matt Lerma's in here saying you're making a big deal out of nothing. It is a bad look on the team. It's a bad look on All-Star Weekend. And it adds to the fact that the 3-point contest was trash. It adds to the fact that the All-Star game is trash because the players are all entitled. And the two players that you don't want to be entitled, CP3 and Victor Wembanyama, were just as entitled as everybody else. They all are.
Look at this thinking. Jeff Garcia was even saying this too. Well, they kind of attempted a shot. They were throwing the ball up.
No. They were throwing the ball up. And it's funny because when you referee a game, whether it be high school, college, or NBA, they ask the question, was it a legitimate shot attempt, right? Like if somebody gets fouled in the act of shooting, you have to determine whether or not there was an actual attempt being made, right? Yeah. And then also whenever you the offensive players who kick out and they say that is not a natural shooting posture, that is not a natural shooting motion. So there is a definition of what a shot is. Flinging it at the rim might count as a field goal attempt, but that is not a natural shooting motion. So now you see. I saw somebody say this about Chris Paul. Keep in mind, Spurs fans hated Chris Paul before he came to the Spurs, right?
Yeah.
I saw somebody post on there on Twitter, that is the most Chris Paul looking thing that I've ever seen. Because Chris Paul's kind of, before he was with the Spurs and kind of now still with the Spurs, was kind of just a nuisance sometimes. And for Wemby to do that on a international stage, to pull that crap, it was a bad look, dude. It was a bad look. And Spurs fans, because of silver and black goggles, dude, if that was Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, if that was Amen Thompson and Alperen Şengün, if that was Luka and LeBron, if that was Curry and Draymond, we would be saying, what the hell was that? That's stupid. That's entitled, right? But just because they wear a silver and black jersey, we're supposed to be like, that's our guys. We gotta support them, right? It's no big deal. It's no big deal. But it's only a big deal if other people do it. And that's where I take the Spurs fandom off a little bit and go, look, man, you got to be objective about it. It was Bush League. Call it for what it is. And we don't want to see that from Wemby. And the fact that at the second that it happened, Joe, boos from the crowd. The second that it happened, thumbs down from the players. Literal thumbs down from the players on the sidelines. Tells you everything that you need to know, Joe, about that being Bush League or not. The fact that people are defending it is just childish Cowboy fan, childish Spur fan, childish Astro fan mentality. Astro fans were like, oh, it's okay if they were cheated to win the World Series. Everyone else cheats. It's okay. We just got away with it, right? You know, we were smarter than everybody else, right? Astros fans it sounds so stupid when they try to defend what happened a few years ago. It sounds so stupid when Cowboy fans try to defend Jerry Jones. It sounds they're not doing it anymore, but they did for a while. And it sounds so stupid when Spurs fans sit there and try to defend what Wemby did out there. CP3, he's been a little bitch his entire career, dude. So that's who he is. I don't want to see that from Wemby.
The thing with Wemby and them trying to hack the system, they're like, well, they respect them trying to hack the system. You look, last time I checked, when you're in the NBA All-Star Weekend, even though it's fun, it's still a competitive sport. You're going out there, you're competing, and you're representing your team. How many times has the San Antonio Spurs been asked to participate in NBA All-Star Weekend? Not very many. Yeah. And this time you go out there and then you completely shit the bed the way you did. You think you're going to be asked back anytime soon?
Exactly. Tex-Mex Frank with a $10 super chat coming in saying a victory grito for Team Wemby and CP3. Don't be mad, fellas. Remember, it's just entertainment. Well, Tex-Mex Frank, we do appreciate the super chat and all of your support. But guess what? Watching them do that was not entertainment. It was Bush League. But you paid for the grito. You get the grito. Tex-Mex Frank, this is for you, my man.
Por presumir a mis amigos les conté que en el amor.
So, Joe, I spoke to one of our listeners the other day, and it's funny because you know how we put my number up there for financial services? Let's go ahead and do it right now. 210-508-0369. Again, my name is Mike Jimenez. Been doing financial services for 19 years. I talk money, man, whether it be investments or insurances, whatever the case may be. It is all confidential, right? But one thing that I will say is that I did mention, I did get a call from somebody who said that they were watching the show and that their girlfriend walked by and heard the grito and was like, what the hell are you listening to?
It gets your attention, man.
It does. So my number's there, 210-508-0369. If you have questions about things like investments, IRAs, if you have an old 401k that you need to move to an IRA, college savings accounts, investments, life insurance, disability, that's me, 210-508-0369. Or if you just want to talk money. And I got people who do real estate. I got people who do auto insurance. I got people who do homeowners, all of that stuff. Give me a call, 210-508-0369. Dude, I am as disappointed as I am about Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama. Stephon Castle, dude. Stephon Castle came to play. He made San Antonio proud. Dude, if it wasn't for Stephon Castle, I'd be so pissed about All-Star Weekend. But Castle winning the MVP of the Rising Stars competition, coming in runner-up in the slam dunk competition as well. He turned heads, a lot of basketball heads who were kind of like, well, who's the Stephon Castle kid? Don't be wrong, we see him every day because he's a Spur, right? People in the Western Conference see it, but there are other teams out there who don't know who's on our roster. I know that we saw teams like Sacramento covet Stephon Castle, right? Imagine the Spurs had traded Stephon Castle for De'Aaron Fox, and he did that at All-Star Weekend. We'd be pissed right now, right? But the fact of the matter is, Stephon Castle had an amazing weekend, hoisted the trophy for the MVP of the Rising Stars. Some people thought he got robbed for the slam dunk competition. Joe, do you think he got robbed? Mac McClung is the back-to-back champion.
Yeah, look at that. We got another $10 incoming super chat from Sam Salinas here. We had one from Tex-Mex Frank and now one from Sam Salinas. Thank you guys so much. Look at what Sam Salinas is saying. Screw the crowd. They should have booed that joke of a 3-point contest. They should have booed a scrub needing props to win the dunk contest. Castle got robbed. Where's the outrage in that? And that's the thing. The 3-point contest is a joke, but we're going to talk about the slam dunk contest, which Stephon Castle competed in. Stephon Castle, he proved that he's a dog, man. He doesn't need props. He just relied on his athleticism, his youth, out there on full display. People took notice of him because he was doing some dunks out there that were very, well done, spectacular dunks, especially the last dunk of the night that Stephon Castle had was amazingly good. He didn't need any props. But to McClung's credit, props are part of the game, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to go ahead and use them as part of your showmanship. So when you compare it in that sense of the game, you can use a prop, go ahead and use the prop, and that's what McClung did. And he was clutch. Every time he went out there and he did a dunk, he executed the dunk first try. And that's what you need to win the crowd, win the judges over. McClung played the system, and that's basically what he did. And he's a 3-time NBA slam dunk champion for a reason. I think that Stephon did a very good job. I think he should have won based on just him alone not needing any props, but it was not to be. But then you look and see what Stephon Castle did have. He had the alien right there courtside, right? He had CP3 right there courtside. He could have relied on his teammates, maybe. I mean, you have the alien. Why not use a prop that's alien themed, right? Get Wemby up there to hold the ball for you or something, or pass you the ball or do something. Don't mean you have to jump over him, but you got the alien there. Use that as to your advantage. You could have had some of your guys come out and do some props or have some alien themed props or something. I mean, it just makes the things a little bit more exciting. That's what I'm saying.
Well, here's the thing. I think that Stephon Castle proved himself to be the best dunker right now in the NBA. Because as much as we complain about who's involved in the slam dunk competition, over the years, back in the day when we had stars out there, we had Vince Carter out there and Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan and all that back in the day. And those days are long and gone because the players are entitled. One thing we saw about Stephon Castle, though, did he do enough to win? He did enough to win, but against McClung, it's not a fair game. Because McClung, well, first of all, McClung's not even an NBA player. He played one game this year for 5 minutes. What's he doing out there? The guy's a professional dunker, right? What does he do all day long in the G League? Think about ways of dunking in the contest, right? He that's what he practices for. That's what he plays for. That's what he does. Stephon Castle's too busy being an actual NBA player. So for Castle to go out there and perform the way that he did was very, 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 very good. Very, very, very telling. It showed how acrobatic he is. It shows that he has that dog in him. The more I see Stephon Castle play, Joe, I look at him and I think to myself, this guy's a throwback player, man. He's a throwback type of player. For him to have that in his bag, it's not like Stephon Castle's out there practicing for the slam dunk competition hours and days and months at a time. He was just invited a few weeks ago, for crying out loud. He did some of the behind the back stuff that he was doing in midair, the catching the ball from the bottom of the hoop and then throwing it back down was very, very, very nice.
Look at how this looks, Mike. If it was Stephon Castle, right? And he had all these other props. They have a dude on a car, Sabrina Carpenter, a lion. They have a ladder on the floor. Okay, so the props are funny. We saw McClung jump over a car, right? Yeah.
But we've seen that before, man. And it's funny because I saw the other day being a few months ago, they had the slam dunk competition last year for the NCAA.
And look at this is the warm up dunk that he was doing, practice dunks behind the scene. McClung.
Yeah, you see, this is his job. That is his job to do this stuff. That is his claim to fame. He will never be an NBA player. And that's just his job. He's an acrobatic dunker. Look how many times he practiced that. Look at Stephon Castle and what Castle was able to do with no practice time or very, very little of it.
Yeah.
McClung prepares for this all year long. This is his job. This is what he's known for. This is his thing. And for Castle to go toe-to-toe is badass, dude. It is badass what he was able to do. Alex Noriega reaches out to us on our YouTube stream, powered by MCS General Contracting, saying McClung should stick to the G League basketball with Bronny James. Tony Onala saying McClung, McBoring. And here's the thing about it, though. I was proud of him. And this is the coming out party for our Stephon Castle because, Joe, I made it a point before leaving last week, our last show last week together, I made sure to look to see what the odds were of him winning Rookie of the Year. He was the favorite, right? He was a plus 190 when I looked last time. And Kel'el Ware of the Miami Heat was second at plus 220. Guess what happened over the weekend, Joe? After Stephon Castle hoisted the MVP for the Rising Stars Challenge, guess what happened after getting runner-up for the slam dunk competition? The odds of him winning just skyrocketed. Right now, according to MGM Grand, plus 130 for Stephon Castle. DraftKings has him at plus 140. FanDuel at plus 120. It's averaging about plus 130 overall. Second place is now Kel'el Ware, which is basically at 3-1 odds, plus 300. I know it has nothing to do with the regular season, Joe.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the 82 games of the regular season. But this rookie class needed a star because we were talking about how it was a weak draft. They got a star now. This draft class has a star. His name is Stephon Castle. If Stephon Castle can stay upright and healthy the last 2 months of the season, this is his to lose. He's going to be Rookie of the Year, Joe.
I have no doubt that he's going to be Rookie of the Year. He's the front runner right now for Rookie of the Year. Everybody's taking notice over here at the NBA All-Star Weekend. It was Stephon Castle's time to shine, and he shined the brightest out of all the young stars out there. I was very proud of Castle and the way that he represented the team out there. You know, he was out there competing, showcasing his skills, and making the league take notice of him. You know, that's what you're going to do at NBA All-Star Weekend. Not shit the bed like Wemby and CP3 and be like, oh, let's hack the system. Ha, 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 funny, not funny. That's dumb. That's dumb. Why did you – and you took somebody else's spot, right, that wanted to go out there and compete, and you do this. That was a wasted slot, in my opinion.
It was. Somebody else would have loved to have been there.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and look at this. Jeff Garcia is asking, Joe, do you think Castle should come back to the dunk contest? Absolutely. I think he should come back to the dunk contest next year. He actually knows now, you know, hey, he has the skills to compete at the highest level there at the dunk contest. The only thing he's lacking is the props. You know, if he had some props out there, there was no doubt that he probably would have beaten McClung, you know. But the thing is, when you look and see what Stephon Castle did, he did, honestly, man, he missed the first dunk, right? He didn't come out and just execute it. But then the scoring for the dunk contest is stupid, too, because you had Matas Buzelis, right, who didn't even execute his first dunk. It was nothing happened. They gave him a 40. How did the judges give this dude a 40? He should have gotten a 0 for not even making a dunk, period. And then they give Stephon Castle, I think it was like a 47.8 or something like that.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me that because Stephon Castle actually executed a dunk, it's only 7 points, worth 7.8 points more than a guy who took 3 or 4 attempts at a dunk and didn't execute it. You should get a 0.
And what do they give them? Like a minute and a half, 2 minutes to figure out what they've got to do. Mario Cavazos on our YouTube stream saying that Castle should never ever compete in another dunk contest. He's better than that. you know, we've seen players come back, and Zach Levine had a multiple appearances. Recently, Aaron Gordon had multiple appearances. If it is wanted, you will come back. And I think Stephon Castle is going to go back there next year anyway because of the Rising Stars Challenge. He'll be a second-year player. He's going to be there anyway, right?
Your analysis says he made his first dunk. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He didn't come out and execute the dunk on the first try, is what I'm telling you. He did execute the dunk, but he just didn't do it on the first try like McClung did, and McClung scored higher because he was able to execute the first attempt.
Now, JHNSB is coming back with some slander on Stephon Castle, saying, good thing Jared McCain is injured, right? Jared McCain was the Rookie of the Month in November, if I'm not mistaken. Philadelphia 76ers. He was averaging 15 points per game when he became injured in mid-December for the season. And at that point, it was like a race to who's going to be Rookie of the Year because you can't have McCain do that. The thing about Jared McCain, though, he was getting all those minutes and all those points because that team was decimated with injuries. They needed to put him out there. The second that people like Maxey came back and the second that other guards came back into the fold, McCain's numbers were going to go down anyway, simply because he wasn't the starter to begin with. He was just a rookie, right? But he was thrown into the starting lineup because of injuries. We can't, even if he was healthy, his stats would have gone down anyway. So
yeah, he's saying Tony Ornelas said Castle made the first dunk. He made the first dunk. What I'm talking about is a second attempt. He had a second attempt where he's trying to make it. He didn't make it. It took him several tries to do it, but he finally did it. But again, if he had executed every single dunk the first try, he probably would have scored higher. But the judging is dumb. Like the way they score the dunks is stupid. If you're gonna have props or whatever, that's part of the game. So there's nothing you can do about that. But you should also look at the skill of the dunk itself. McClung had some great dunks. It looks great when you're putting all the props and stuff out there, showing some things that haven't been done before. And the dunk contest was all right. It was all right. It was okay to look at. In years past, it's been very boring. So McClung is actually saving the dunk contest at this point.
Mm-hmm, most definitely. NBA back in action tonight. We've got one game on the docket. We have the Lakers hosting the Hornets. Spurs back in action tomorrow. Home games. First home game for De'Aaron Fox, but it's not going to be in San Antonio because the rodeo road trip continues. They're going to be playing in Austin tomorrow against the Phoenix Suns. Oddly enough, the Phoenix Suns come in as an underdog. Spurs are favored to win there in Austin. We'll talk about the Spurs on the other side. Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. He brings daily content when it comes to your silver and black.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Everyone's correcting me right now. The Spurs don't play till Thursday. For some reason, I thought it was Wednesday. I got the dates wrong. So the NBA's back at it tomorrow. Spurs play in back-to-back games in Austin beginning on Thursday against the Suns. Spurs favored by 2.5 points. Jeff Garcia just dropped his latest edition of Locked On Spurs. He has Rudy Campos Jr. on today from Sweep the League podcast about the Kevin Durant to Spurs trade rumor from back in the day. So they'll get into that today. More interviews and whatnot as the Spurs get back into the swing of things. We're all excited about Stephon Castle and his performance at the NBA All-Star Weekend. I think he'll be back for the dunk contest next year, Joe. Like I said, he's already going to be there. Why not?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and show the latest that Jeff Garcia has going on for himself. There he goes. You can go ahead and check that out over at Jeff Garcia's at Jeff G Spurs on the X, or you can go ahead and check this out anywhere you can get all your major podcasts on every major platform out there, and listen to his guest with his today's show at Sweep the League as well. So you can go ahead and give them a follow on YouTube and listen to them and see what
Now,
they have to say about the Durant to Spurs trade rumors.
if you scroll down a little bit on his page here, he has some video here of David Robinson. Apparently, it's keep scrolling, keep scrolling.
Right here.
There it is. You want to show that today is the 31-year anniversary, according to ballislife.com. The 31-year anniversary of David Robinson's quadruple double. 34 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and 10 blocks. Dude, that guy was ahead of his time.
Damn.
Imagine what he could have done. Robinson's neighborhood, I forgot about that. Imagine what he could have done in today's league. He was made for today's league. He really, as great as he was, and he's an all-time great, he would have been better in today's league than back then. David Robinson, a legend.
Ahead of his time, man.
So I brought up the idea that you had, Joe. I was talking to somebody yesterday about how the one take that you have had that I wish I could steal from you. So let's talk about that, Joe. Think about one that you wish you could have stolen from me. Something that you said, that I said, that you thought to yourself, God, I wish I would have said that. You coming up and saying that Prime Kawhi was better than Prime so far Wemby was so great. Like I you don't know how many people I've talked with about this where I was like, man, I'm so proud of Joe. That was one hell of a sports take because it's actual and factual, but no one wants to say it. It's one of those things where it's not what people want to hear, it's what they need to hear. Joe, every time I bring up that topic, I say, I cannot believe Joe got that one before me. Like, I was so proud, I was pissed.
Oh, my
God.
Joe,
did I ever have a take that you looked at and said, I wish I had had that take? Is it the one where it was announced that Brett Favre has cancer?
That's probably the one. No, he had was it Parkinson's or something?
Parkinson's.
Hey, Mike, it's just been announced Brett Favre has Parkinson's disease. Good. Man, that was like one of the best moments you've ever had on the show. Everybody was cracking up, bro.
Dude, Chris Leha was so proud, man. You know, and it's so funny because Leha gives me so much crap on social media, but he was so proud that day. He was like, that just came out of nowhere.
You know, it was funny too. I had lunch because I was off on Monday, right? And I'm rarely off from work. So I hit up my boy Jonas Clark, right? He's one of my best friends. So I told Jonas, hey man, let's go to Texas Roadhouse. I'm off today. You're off today. I got lunch, man. So I paid for our lunch over at the Texas Roadhouse, courtesy of Sean, right? Because Sean hooked us up, you know.
Yeah.
And so we went out there and we had our lunch or what have you. And I was asking him, because we get into sports debates, right, when we're at the table. They should be podcast on their own, but it's like private conversations we're having. And I told him, you know, real talk, though, I said, at the end of the day, do you think they should? I said, I know this is a thing that Spurs fans hate talking about because it's like pouring, you know, alcohol on the open wound. It stings. I told him, but do you think at the end of the day that Kawhi Leonard deserves to have his number 2 jersey raised to the rafters, even though he's a snake and everybody says what they say about him? At the end of the day, the brother was, in fact, the best two-way player that the Spurs have ever had thus far. He did help them win a championship in 2014. If it wasn't for him, I don't know if the Spurs would have dominated as much as they had against the Heat. After that, he goes on. He wins another chip, right? After he leaves the San Antonio Spurs with the Toronto Raptors. If it hadn't been for the little, you know, Bush League move by Zaza, maybe the Spurs, you know, best the Warriors and they go on to the NBA Finals. Who knows? You know, we never know what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, do you think that he deserves to have his number 2 jersey raised to the rafters? You do have Avery Johnson there. You know, you have some other Spurs names up there that are kind of questionable, but what do you think, Mike?
Well, the answer has always been yes. I mean, I brought up this point on San Antonio Sports Star a while back, and they, you know, people blasted me when it came to it all. The fact of the matter is that he is a Finals MVP. He didn't just help this team go to the championship. He's the MVP of the 2014 NBA Finals. He played a good number of seasons here. He was an all-star here. He was an all-NBA player here. He was a defensive player of the year here. Yeah, he deserves to be up there. You know who else deserves to be up there, but because of criminal and personal reasons is Alvin Robertson.
Yeah.
Alvin Robertson should belong up there as well, just from talent-wise. I understand the venom against Kawhi Leonard,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, a chip is a chip. At the end of the day, Tim, Tony, and Manu don't have 5. Tim doesn't have 5. Tony and Manu don't have 4. They have 4 and 3 each. The
Yeah.
idea that Tim is a top 10 player of all time takes a little bit of a hit if he only has 4 chips. He has 5. It's no debate. He has 4 when he's back in the area with Larry Bird. He's back in the area there in the back end of the top 10. You want to call him the greatest power forward of all time. You want to call him a top 5 player of all time. He needed that 5th ring. He got that ring. He got that ring because of Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was so instrumental when it comes to it all. Couldn't have happened without him. So, yeah, Kawhi does deserve his love. Now, I'm not saying that the Spurs need to roll out the red carpet and make a big deal out of it, but to retire that jersey at some point would be good.
Can you imagine if they go, we're going to the rafters is number 2, Kawhi Leonard, and they have a ceremony and all that for him, Can you imagine the boos from the crowd? Boo, boo. They're going to hate Kawhi forever. And the number 2 goes up to the rafters.
The way that I've equated this all the time was for many years, I did not get along with my ex-wife, my first ex-wife,
Yeah.
right? Gabby's mom. And now we do. We get along perfectly well now, right? Took a long time for that to happen, right? But at the end of the day, you cannot like somebody, that's fine. But to hate somebody is wrong sometimes because at the end of the day, I can't hate the person that helped bring Gabby into this world, right? Gabby is my daughter, love her like crazy.
Yeah.
She's amazing. And I couldn't have had that without her mom. So I had to put that into perspective when I didn't get along with her mom of just don't hate her because of that. Now I'm glad that things are fine and better. But it's just, we have to look at it that way. We got divorced from Kawhi Leonard, but that doesn't mean that we have a child with Kawhi Leonard who's 2014. That he gave birth to 2014 title, right?
Yeah. It was funny though, because me and Jonas are having this discussion, and there's guys that are next to us on the other table. And I mean, almost every guy's a sports fan, and they're just kind of give us a little side eye look, But it's just us having a discussion, about that. We talked about the skills challenge and all that. And of course, Jonas gives me his take. I give him mine, and we're just catching up. And but when we get talking about sports, we get into some heated debates, because we have contrasting styles of what we kind of think, So it's fun hanging out with my boy and just kind of talking sports with him, because he's not on the airwaves anymore. So it's fun just talking sports nonetheless. But yeah, the Kawhi thing is a bit of a touchy subject for Spurs fans. They kind of still feel a certain way about it. And everybody's, oh, that's clickbait. Oh, you all are morons. Mm-hmm. It's our show. We can talk whatever the hell we want to talk about.
Pop in the front office aren't going to be there forever, dude.
True.
We all like to believe that they're going to be there forever. They're not. And Matt Lambert coming out there says they legitimately almost just have number 2. They just gave number 2 to De'Aaron Fox. They have no plan to hang that number up. Well, you don't hang up a number until somebody retires.
Yeah.
And Kawhi Leonard is a current player. And plus, you don't have to retire a jersey just once. Look at the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys have had number 88 retired 2 times. It's going to be retired a 3rd time when it comes to CeeDee Lamb.
What happened with LaMarcus Aldridge?
Yes. Yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge. So with number 12.
Uh-huh.
Bruce Bowen's number was retired.
Up in the rafters, and he's like, you know what? Go ahead and let him have it,
Yeah. So we're running out of numbers, man. It used to be that the numbers were, and then some numbers get get retired for eternity. I know that we had in baseball, Jackie Robinson's number was retired. And I bet you the day that Michael Jordan dies, they'll retire 23 forever. Michael Jordan, by the way, had his birthday over the weekend. He's like in his early 60s and 62nd birthday.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But we have some house cleaning things to talk about. Tomorrow I'll be doing the show. I'm going to try to get another guest with me. Joe, you're going to be out tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be out tomorrow.
There's a chance that I'll be out on Thursday. I'll be back in San Antonio. Coming back to San Antonio tonight. There's a chance I'll be out on Thursday because my divorce is rearing its ugly head, and we have to go to court and all that stuff. Unless we can come up to a conclusion beforehand. But I think I have a court date on Thursday. I'm not sure.
All these court dates, man, they're killing you, bro. Like, just come to an agreement, move on.
I know, and I don't know what to think of it all.
It's like, this is just long and drawn out, man. Don't feel bad, brother. One of my good friends went through the same thing. It took him forever to finally I guess the ex just finally said, you know what? I've been dragging it out long enough. Let's get her done. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking to see what time my thing is on Thursday. I hope I can do the show and then just go out there. But you know how lawyers are. They always set it for like 8 a.m. It's like the most inopportune time. But let's give some love to our good friends over at MCS General Contracting. I see you wearing the hat right there.
Yeah.
The light behind you looks like a halo, Joe. you look like an MCS angel.
Saint Joe.
Let's give them some love.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
That Diamond Hard Concrete, my man. They do a fantastic job. I know a lot of people are using them right now. A lot of our listeners. This is all what is known as drip marketing. Okay? Drip marketing is every day if you learn about MCS General Contracting, every day if you learn about Locked On Spurs, every day if you learn about what I do for a living in the financial world, you'll come to the idea, the realization that, hey, I'm going to use these guys. Or I'm going to refer you to these guys. I love the fact of hearing these stories about MCS General Contracting, Joe, where people were like, yeah, had no idea about them, but we're using them because we hear them so much about them on this podcast. We hear about them on social media, all USOA and all of that stuff.
Drip marketing, right?
Drip marketing. It's not happen. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's like a bucket. Just get a drip of water every day, and then it starts to overflow. This week, Joe, I was contacted by 4 people, Joe, this week alone. Man. 4 people from this podcast reached out to me. That's amazing. You reach out to MCS 210-774-9155, 774-9155. Tony Onala says on our YouTube stream that Wemby and CP3 did not have that Diamond Hard Concrete.
No, they had the Wimpy Ganas, showed its ugly head again. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and show this. Jeff Garcia is on one right now, dude, and I like it. Look what he's putting out on the X right now. Jeff saying, what if David Robinson is playing in today's NBA? Is he the better player than Wemby?
The answer is yes.
Right?
The answer is yes. That's a very, very, very good question. Because David Robinson, we talk about Wemby being an alien. David Robinson was the alien back in the 90s. When he first came out, 7'1", ran the floor like a point guard. We talk about how Wemby can shoot like a shooting guard. Well, I mean, Wemby shoots at 35% from 3. He's a decent 3-point shooter, but he's not Curry. He's not Klay Thompson, right? He's a decent 3-point shooter that we hope gets better. The true alien that we've had was David Robinson. David Robinson had the handles of a point guard. He could run the break. He could finish the break. He could rebound. He could block. He could play defense. He had a mid-range game, spot-up jump shot. He couldn't shoot the 3, but that wasn't his job. I mean, the David Robinson was the ideal player back in the day. He didn't have that dog in him, though. He just had a lot of talent. He didn't have a lot of dog in him where he would intimidate anybody. Yeah. But just from an athletic standpoint, he was so remarkable to watch.
David Robinson was ahead of his time. I mean, he had all that athleticism, the speed, for in the handles for being a big man. that was unheard of at that point in time in the NBA. Derek Robinson was an enigma.
Who's the closest to him in the NBA right now? Would it be Giannis?
Probably Giannis, I would say.
But Giannis doesn't have the post-up moves. That's what I missed back in the day. Remember back in the day of the 90s, you had the Hakeem Shake, the Dream Shake. You had David Robinson with the jump shot from the side, Tim Duncan's bank shot. Back in the day, you had Patrick Ewing's drop step. Back in the day, the big men had moves. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had the unstoppable skyhook. Why everyone doesn't develop a game like that, I don't understand at all.
It's in today's league. It's you can't really live in the paint the way they used to back in the day, man. It's a different era.
Chris Gonzalez saying David Robinson is KD. Doesn't shoot threes. And July 26th talking about the fact that it was a 24-year-old rookie versus a 19-year-old rookie. Age has a lot to do with it too. No, it does. It does. But the games are different, man. Wemby's game and Robinson's game are different. Wemby has no desire to be down low. I mean, he's down low blocking shots and whatnot, but he doesn't want to bang bodies. David Robinson wouldn't mind banging bodies with Hakeem and all that stuff. The only person that really got to intimidate him with the I'm thinking about Karl Malone and trying to not call him a jackass MFer, dude. Karl Malone was a dirty player.
Remember the elbow he gave him? He spun around, immediately hit him on the back of the head,
and no one did anything.
They just sit there.
$5 super chat coming in from Tony Arnales. Coming out saying Robinson and Wemby were polished coming into the rookie year. Wemby is not even polished yet, and that's scary. French league guys, think about it. The thing about it is this, Tony, and I had this conversation with somebody earlier this week. Wemby has yet to show that dog in him.
Yeah, man.
I kind of fear that dog might not ever appear. I hope that it does, and I'm hopeful. I'm not saying that it won't.
Yeah. What's that saying from Dodgeball? In order to win, you got to get mean. You got to get angry.
You got to get angry. I posted something that pissed off some people. Matt Lerma on our stream being one of them. I posted on Twitter the other day, what happens if Wemby becomes the Robin to Castle's Batman? Everyone always talking about how Wemby needs a Robin, right? What if the real Batman in the whole group is Castle? And our good friend Matt Lerma came out and was like, I'm so tired of this Wemby slander. And I had another guy come out.
Leave Wemby alone.
I had another guy come up to me and said, I'm drinking, enough of this Inception shit. But the fact of the matter is that what happens if Castle becomes that guy? We see this in Boston with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. This is supposedly Tatum's team, but Jaylen Brown, at the end of the day, gets the ball, right? What if Wemby doesn't have it in him to be the alpha? Before the season started, his rookie campaign, we had all those guys from ESPN come out and say, no, he has that Mamba mentality. He's very Kobe-esque and all that stuff. We haven't seen it, man. We're in year 2. I haven't seen him demand the ball as often as he should. And I'm just wondering if him being passive is just kind of his thing. David Robinson was the same way also. David Robinson was also a passive player. David Robinson did not win until when, Joe? Until Duncan arrived, right?
He needed that other player.
And who do people describe Wemby as? Well, he's just like Kevin Durant. Did Durant win anything on his own?
No.
What did Durant have to do?
He had to get rid of James Harden and get rid of what's his name?
Harden and Ibaka and Westbrook.
Westbrook.
But even then, he didn't win. He had to join a 73-win team in the Golden State Warriors. Now, he was the Finals MVP back-to-back years. But again, if you're going to compare him to Durant, that pisses me off because Durant didn't win dick unless he had Curry next to him. Prime Curry next to him. Prime Klay Thompson and prime Draymond Green.
Yeah, once Durant left, Golden State, what has he won?
What's that? Yeah, he hasn't won anything since.
Once he left Golden State, he hasn't won nothing.
Tony coming out and saying Wemby just needs to smoke some weed with KD and KG and play some ball with them.
Hey, KD told Wemby what he needs to do to kind of, up his game and play physical.
Yeah, said go to LA and play in the summer over there.
Go play with the men. Even though they're going to push you around, knock you down, and beat the hell out of you, you're going to come out a better player because of it.
Matt Laird say, is there any way to block people on these chats? What's going on in the chats? What's going on in the chat? Is there a infighting going on?
I don't even know. I'm trying to get to all the chats as we can, dude, because they're always coming in hot and heavy here.
Yeah, JHNSB also reached out to me on the other day talking about I always pronounce the word Yubaseli from I believe he plays with the Celtics, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
How he played with France and he did a lot better than Wemby. Trying to compare the U.S. basketball, NBA basketball to FIBA ball is just apples and oranges. It really is. Yes, he's a French forward. He played for Boston for a couple of years. Now plays for Philadelphia. But the problem with Gershon is that the dude's old. I mean, the guy's been around. So even if he is more polished, the guy's 30 years old, man. He's going to be turning 30 this year. He's 29 right now. So comparing the two is apples and oranges.
Look at this, man. This stat has me laughing, dude. Spurs Muse, right, puts out, fun fact, Bismack Biyombo has literally never missed a shot as a Spur. And why is that? Because the brother ain't got no playing time, man.
Yeah.
You think he's going to flip the court?
No. Why would he?
Don't tell
4
that
teams in 4 years. Midway through the season, like he's going to suddenly become an integral member. That the Spurs are going to go out there and put De'Aaron Fox, who hasn't been with the team for more than 2 weeks, along with a player that hasn't played all season in Bismack Biyombo, to go out there with Wemby. Yeah, that's a really winning formula out there, Joe. A lot of winning formulas.
And
Joe,
I said this, right? We came out on the Locked On Spurs that was released yesterday. Go and listen to that. It was our reaction to what was going on the NBA All-Star Weekend with Chris Paul, Wemby, and Stephon Castle. But we were kind of talking back and forth, about various other things. And I was telling Jeff, because I know Jeff doesn't like to talk about it. But I'm like, Jeff, at some point, you got to look at it this way with the San Antonio Spurs and what's going on with them as of late. If you're not tanking softly, why are the signs all there? You're putting up the same tired, boring ass lineups that aren't really being, let's say, productive, right? They're refusing to go ahead and put Castle in at times in favor of one aging CP3. I get it. They're not going to go ahead and put CP3 on the bench. But tell me that the signs aren't there, that they're tanking softly. X-Files music and Q.
There's a reason for that. Going into the season, you would think that the Spurs would have 2 lottery picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as of right now, the Spurs have the number 10 pick in the draft based on the 23 and 29 record, right? But that Atlanta pick, one day it's number 11, another day it's number 15, based on whether or not Atlanta qualifies for the play-in tournament. And at what level do they qualify for the play-in tournament, right? You might look at that and go, okay, well, Atlanta is 26 and 29. Why are they 15? Whereas Sacramento and Golden State are 13 and 14 with a winning record. It's because the Eastern Conference stacks up in a certain way. So we need teams like Miami to keep on winning. We need teams like Chicago to keep on winning, so that pick that we get from Atlanta falls into that lottery territory. As of right now, the Spurs are picking 10 and 15. If the Spurs start winning games and make the play-in tournament, imagine going into the draft with picks number 15 and 16. That does nothing to improve this team. Right now, the Spurs have to win less than 30 or more than 40. Win more than 40, you might be in the play-in tournament. Win 30 or less, you're going to get a good pick in the draft. You win numbers 31 through 39, that's no man's land. That is, you're not making the play-in tournament, and you're not getting a good pick. So, is it a soft tank? Yeah, the signs are there.
Tank. And that's another thing that I had a discussion with my boy Jonas Clark. I said it's like the Fuji song, right? Killing me softly,
Uh-huh.
tanking softly. That's what they're doing. I mean, you look at their record too, Mike. I mean, they're better than they were last year, but Spurs fans had like these grandiose expectations of this team. Man, they're gonna make the play in, dude. They're gonna be a shoe in for the play in. They go out and get Fox. Oh, it's a done deal. Spurs are gonna be in the play in. what did Mitch Johnson say? Hold up, hold my beer. I'm not done yet. We ain't done yet. And right now, the team's just not looking very good. It doesn't look like they're going to make that play in. I mean, they might flirt with it maybe near the end of the season, but to me, it's going to be too little too late. They might go out, win a couple games here, go out on a winning streak. But I don't know if this team is going to win 5 games in a row. They haven't done that in quite some time. They get to 3, maybe they get to 4, and then that's it. The wheels come off again, and they come back down to earth. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen.
Well, the talent's not there, Joe.
Hmm.
The talent's not there. We have De'Aaron Fox, we have Castle, we have Wemby, we have Barnes. Champagne fell off the face of the earth, man. He's gone back to being Mr. Cardio. Beyond those 4, Joe, beyond Wemby, Castle, Barnes, and Fox, just dudes, man. Just dudes. You can replace Keldon in a heartbeat. You can replace Vassell in a heartbeat. You can replace Sohan in a heartbeat. You can replace everybody down the roster in a heartbeat. Spurs have 4 players on this team worth a damn.
You know what Spurs fans probably want? They want the return of one Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker the fourth will finish his season over at Lithuania's BC Zalgiris, right? According to his agent. While he says Walker plans at the age of 26, plans to want to return to the NBA next season.
Mm-hmm.
He has a buyout in his EuroLeague deal through February the 18th.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the kid might have a resurgence, right? Come back next season if he can.
Nah.
No, you think he's done?
Well, no, he might make it on the NBA roster. He plays well enough defensively to make it on there. He shoots pretty good from 3. He has a certain skill set to warrant. He's never going to be an NBA star. But can I see him coming back to play for 10 minutes? Sure, why not? He's a better player than Trey Jones. Trey Jones is in this league. Not with the Spurs anymore. What is he, Joe?
Gone.
That he's gone.
Everyone
reaching out saying we need a coach. Well, then who's that coach going to be? Because I can spin it back to you guys. Who's that coach going to be? Because it ain't going to be Pop. Because Pop's not going to come back from a stroke and come back and go 82 games and 41 games on the road, and not including the preseason and all that stuff. It's not going to be Pop, right? It's not going to be Becky. Becky makes a ton of money to do what she does right now, and it's not the grind that she has now that she would have as an NBA head coach. Who's it going to be? Right? It's not going to be one of those top tier college coaches because they make a lot of money in college with less pressure. It's not so. Who we're going to have? We're going to be stuck with either Borrego or Mitch Johnson. Pick your poison. Which one do you want? Because I can't see anybody else. Monty Williams, I can't see anybody else other than that coming into this team. The way the Spurs are do things.
Yeah. And then look at this. And we had some comments coming in. Tony Ornalis goes, I never said a shoe in for the play-in. What moron Spurs fans do you guys listen to must be on the X? And they do come from the X. They do come from the X. Various other social media platforms, including Facebook, which I find Facebook is like the cesspool right now, dude. It's worse than the X. You go to the official Spurs Facebook group and you're pro Spur. And the minute you have a thought and you say something that's a good take on the team, they come after you. Oh no, you're not a true fan. Once a Spurs fan, always a Spurs fan.
Yeah,
you're sticking through it through the bad and the good. You're not a real fan if you criticize the team. It's always have to be 100% positive. I'm like, no, man.
Yeah, you're not a real fan, or you don't know ball, are the two most lame responses ever. Jesse A saying Mike was throbbing for Mitch at the beginning. Thank you for using the word throbbing, by the way. It's coming back. I still want Mitch Johnson. I want Mitch Johnson to have a full summer. So let me get this straight. We're gonna bitch and moan and complain about Mitch Johnson, right? He didn't have this team as his own during the preseason. He didn't have this team as an offseason. Don't you have to maybe give him a chance to see what we had? He has the exact same experience as Greg Popovich when Greg Popovich took over back in the late 90s. You got to give Mitch Johnson a full season. You can't just be switching things up all the time. But yes, throbbing needs to come back. In fact, dare I say, Stephon Castle was throbbing during the Rising Stars competition.
Man. Gross, bro.
Joe, did you see that plane crash in Toronto?
Yeah, man, it was upside down on the ice.
Let's show this, man. Are you afraid of flying these days? Because why is it every day I turn on the news, there's a plane falling from the sky?
And what flight was that?
I believe it was flying from Minnesota to Toronto. Now, the good thing is everybody survived, right? But I was telling my girlfriend this morning about it, and she goes, another one. She thinks there's a conspiracy theory going on. She's like, there's got to be something in the works. But this one right here was weather related. Apparently, this plane was coming down, had 80 some odd passengers on there, and it was coming down, and it was snowing hard. There was like a foot of snow all around, and it landed, and the gust of wind, which was like over 35 miles an hour, blew that thing off to the side. Look at that. Coming in for a landing, hits the ground, and immediately just turns to the side. Look at how much snow was there. They were saying that the winds were so strong going left to right. Crazy, man.
That's craziness, dude.
And the people who were survivors were saying that they were upside down in their seats. They're like, we were hanging like bats until they came and got us.
Can you imagine how scary that is? You know, you're
hanging. It's a Delta. Wait, real fast. Good.
No, I say you're hanging upside down, and then the damn thing's on fire to top it all off. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like, how do you get out of there?
Dude, they're hanging like bats. You would think that's a Spirit flight. That's a Delta flight. You know, the Delta pilots are the best pilots, right? So it just skidded. So the wind shook it to the side. That must have been one hell of a strong wind, man. Big Sean PD says, I've always been afraid of flying. I never flew, and every time I start to consider it, I hear about crashes on the news.
Look at this.
This is
the inside, you know, like the people, they're taking them out.
Yeah.
The plane, man. It's like, that's amazing. Like, all these people survived the crash, you know, because that looked pretty nasty, dude.
Did I tell you about what happened when Chica and I went to Barbados and this lady started screaming on the plane? So she started, okay, so we're flying to Barbados, right? And I didn't realize from like Miami to Barbados, like a 5-hour flight. We're flying south, right? And we're on this flight. I think we're on American Airlines, if I'm not mistaken. This lady about 4 rows ahead of us just started screaming her head off like she's getting stabbed, and she's pointing at somebody. And I'm thinking somebody's got a knife or a bomb or something like that. She's screaming as though the plane's going down. Well, apparently the guy across the way was having a seizure and was like foaming at the mouth. No one knew what to do. They made the announcement on the overhead. They're like, if there's a doctor, is there a doctor on the plane? Go to row number 23 or whatever it was, right? So these people make their way over there. No doctors, but there might have been some nurses or somebody like that. They're not doing anything for the guy because they can't figure it out. They're just huddled around him, right? Give him some space or something, but they huddled around him. I'm looking on that map on that radar that we have on the plane that says where you are. I'm like, oh, we're near Puerto Rico. We're probably going to land there, get the guy off the plane. Nope. We flew by Puerto Rico. And I'm like, oh my God, we're about an hour and a half away from Barbados. And this guy's just slobbering like crazy for about an hour and a half. We land in Barbados. They tell everyone to stay put because they're going to get EMTs on board. EMTs rush in. These three guys come out there wearing the Barbados colors, which is like those Caribbean colors, the green, the black, and the gold.
Mhm.
Wearing sunglasses inside of the plane, shades, right? It's Oakley type glasses. They run in, they look at him, they go, he's fine. And they walk right by him. They look at him and say, good.
Good.
We have a suit. July 26th comes out, says people give Spirit Airlines crap for being ghetto, but I've never heard of fatal accidents.
There it is. We'll go ahead and show his comment there.
Sam Salinas asking the question, was that screaming lady pointing at you, Mike, and saying, that mother effer isn't real? Dude, that girl who shouted that, did you ever see that video?
No.
That girl who's having a breakdown on the plane, she's pointing at people going, that mother effer is not real.
Jeez.
She was having, I don't know, delusions.
She's on a trip.
She was on a trip or something. By the way, Nugget.
Oh,
If you follow her on Instagram, she's a nugget.
oh, we have the
True story.
$1.99 super chat coming in from Tony Ornelas here. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate your support of the show. He says, I want Manu as head coach. You think it can happen? I don't think that Manu's interested in coaching, man. That's just me.
I don't think Tony Parker is either. Tim Duncan did it for half a season, was like, nah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they want to enjoy their lives, you know. Tim's got his family, Manu's got his family, and Tony likes to bang chicks. So he likes to bang French chick after French chick. He's like the Leonardo DiCaprio of Spurs history. Hand of a fist saying, working these pilots hard. That's right. Jesse A asking the question, did y'all see the fight at Bentley's? Go to Jeff Garcia's Twitter account if you can, Joe.
Yeah.
He posted this morning a fight at Bentley's. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but Bentley's is near downtown. I went there with Jeff Garcia. I went there with Nick Montas from KSAT. I've also been there before with Big Poppy Brandon Medina. Bentley's is rough, dude. Bentley's is rough. Have you been there, Joe?
I've been there before.
Bentley's Beer Garden. I think I've been there with you. I think I went there with you and Brandon one time.
Brandon. I wasn't there. It was just you and Brandon.
So if we can find that video.
Jeff posted it here. I think this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it. I see it now. Let me go ahead and show it on screen. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen now. There we are.
So the fight broke out. Apparently it's over the weekend. I don't know if we could extend that one out there. So my daughter told me that she went to that place or was around there a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, don't ever go to Bentley's. Don't ever go to Bentley's. In fact, as a good father right now, I'm going to reach out to her and say, did you see that fight at Bentley's? Don't ever go there. Joe, that place is just brutally ghetto, dude.
You saw that Tecuache haircuts running around, dude. That's all I need to know. Say less. They have other views of the fight that ensued or what have you.
You know, I dude, okay, first of all, Bentley's in theory is a good place to go watch a game. They've got the big screen TVs. The girls like to go to the long swings, and they swing back and forth. They even have swings instead of bar stools at the bar. It's cheap drinks, but you know there's an issue, Joe. This is how you know you don't belong to that bar. If you ever have to go to a bar where they tell you that you have to pay your tab after every round, you know the place is ghetto. I go there, I want to have 3 beers. That'll be $12. All right, cool. We'll put it on a tab. We don't do tabs. Every time you come up, you have to pay. Every time you come up, you have to pay. By our house, Joe, is it the Hangar that does that?
No, the hangar does not do that. I went to the hangar 2 weeks ago.
So what's
Well,
the other place that we go to?
Stout House, they don't do that there either. You know, it might be the 151 Saloon. I don't know if they do that there.
Yeah. Jesse A says, if the security is armed like SWAT and you get a pat down going in, you know it's a rough place. Stout House does that, man. Stout House gives me more of a feel up than freaking in TSA.
God, dude. I've been to the hangar. The hangar was actually nice, dude. When I went, the weather was just right where it wasn't too hot. You could enjoy yourself outside. I was sitting outside by the bar, and they have the indoor area that was always super packed. So I was just sitting out there in the outdoor bar. It was a great evening, man. I was out there with my boys, and we were watching the Spurs game because it was an early tip, and on a Saturday, should I say? It was 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we're watching that, and I was like, yeah, okay, man, I'm gonna take the Spurs game in. Had some food. I gotta say, the food wasn't bad. You know, they had like deep fried pickles and basket of fries and some other stuff that I had got from my boys. You know, because I invite you to come out. I got you. You know, so I was buying beers and food for everybody. So had a good time, and I got to see one of our listeners there as well and his wife. So I spent time with them as well.
That's badass, man. Badass. This past weekend was Valentine's Day. Me and Chica went to a nice little restaurant here in the Woodlands. Did that for a little while. I got her tickets to go see Jelly Roll and Post Malone. So they're going to be performing over in the Alamo Dome come May. So we've got 2 concerts that we're going to. We got Post Malone, Jelly Roll, and then we've got Babyface that we're going to in a couple of weeks out there in Louisiana. So excited about that. Thinking about it, Joe, do I want to sing rock or do I want to sing R&B when we do the karaoke on the 22nd, which is coming up soon, Saturday night? Now let's look at the weather, Joe. I don't want to cancel this. Dude, Chico's already coming. I don't want us to do this, but it's going to be cold Saturday. It's going to be in the 40s. Of course, Sunday it's going to be 71, right? But Saturday night it's going to be cold.
It's not going to be that bad. High is 68. Your low is going to be 44. But the low of 44 isn't going to hit till like later that evening.
No, this Saturday, Joe. It's going to be game time, if you will, when we're doing our karaoke. It's going to be about 45 degrees.
It's not bad, dude.
I say we still do it, Joe. I say we still do it.
Why would you cancel? You cancel again, I ain't going, dude.
Well, no, I'm not canceling, dude. I'm not canceling. I'm just saying it's rain or shine, baby. Let's just make this happen. I'm going to be there, Joe. I'm not canceling, Joe.
All right. You're not going to cancel. I don't know if with reptiles. Oh, God, bro. That's a blast from the past there. What was the name of the other place? The Lucky Monkey. I remember that one. That's another shady ass bar that was over here off of Marbach, dude.
Yeah.
Talking about ghetto bars. El Gallo. El Gallo was a ghetto bar. Reptiles, man. Reptiles, you had a lot of the bandidos that used to hang out at that bar, dude. If you know, you know, Mike. Oh, look at that. Just said, Joe, is your job safe with HSA since Elon is trying to get rid of federal employees who have been working under 2 years for their agency? I work for the Department of Homeland Security, so it's DHS. I'm good, man. I'm good. I don't have to worry about nothing. I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah. So no, we'll
Let's put it like this, man. When you get a high enough clearance, they can't get rid of you because it costs too much for you to get a clearance.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
So, Joe, I'm reading up a story about all these stores that are coming to a close. Man, we talked about all those restaurants back in the day that are going bye-bye. Should we pour one out for JCPenney announcing more store closings? Party City announcing hundreds of stores closing nationwide. Party City, Joe. That's a big one, dude. That would hurt a little bit. Like, I don't give 2 craps about Joanne Fabrics closing its doors. Even Macy's is closing a good chunk of their stores. Ingram Park Mall is going to be nothing, dude, when it's all said and done. Dude, Ingram Park Mall used to be the place, man. I used to love going to Ingram. Now, it's just all right.
Look at this. Matt Gomez says, can we get you all to go to the SAFC game on the 8th? Here's the thing, Mike. March the 8th, I already have a previous engagement already scheduled. And that's me taking my favorite little niece who's real close to me. Her name's Evelyn. Shout out to you, Evelyn. I'm going to take her camping for the first time. So I already have everything already prepared for that day. We're going to go to one of the Texas parks here. I'm taking her camping that day. I took the day off and all that kind of stuff. Or you know what? No, it's on the 9th. So you know what? Mike, just go there, dude. You game for this, Mike? Because you know what? I don't leave until the 9th, actually.
Okay, I've hung out with the Crocketeers a couple of times. I've gone to a couple of games in recent years. I'm down for a game, but cannot make it March 8th because that's the Babyface concert day.
Okay. Well, you know what? I probably can go because I don't actually go camping until the 8th. I got the days mixed up, so I can probably go.
Very cool, Joe. Very cool. Well, Joe, it's been a lively show. We'll have more to talk about later on this week. I know tomorrow you're going to be out.
Yep.
So I need to find a co-host, Joe. So do I have the capability of going on here and sending a link out to somebody else, like if Fernandez or John Dyer, somebody on here? Do you know who I want to do a show with? I would like to do a show with Matt Larimer. Matt, if you were on, we've never done a show together, Matt. Can you make it happen? Send you the link and join me tomorrow as we talk about the Spurs, talk about pop culture and things like that.
What about getting Matt Gomez on the line, here and having him talk sports with you because he's big into like SAFC. The season's going to start in about 2 weeks. He has a lot of information to share and talk about.
I have nowhere to go with SAFC. I like going to the games, but I don't know the lore behind it. I don't know the battle going on, what's brewing between it all.
The Scorpion days, come on.
And to be honest with you, the end of the day, it's just soccer. It's just soccer.
Oh, Mike.
Soccer will forever be the redheaded stepchild of sports. It's fun to go to. I have it on my bucket list to go to one of those big matches out in Europe. It's on my bucket list, right? That all that stuff, and I love hanging out with the Crocketeers, the tailgating and all that stuff, which I don't think had happened anymore. Loved it, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's soccer.
Come on, man.
It's like back in the day when Minix would want to talk about NHL finals, and I'm like, dude, it's hockey.
Yeah, we'll get you on next week, Matt Gomez, when I'm here in the studio.
Now, I am down for a segment, Joe, with Matt.
Yeah.
We'll get him on, talk about Santa FC.
Yeah.
Get me amped up, dude. Get me amped up. You gotta get me throbbing about soccer.
Throbbing. You know what, man? This is my move. When I go to an SAFC game, I'll go and I'll get me seats, behind the goal and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the prices are very, economical, really priced well. And what I'll do most of the time is I'll hang out at the outdoor bar. I like hanging out at the outdoor bar, man. I'm there. I make friends, talking with a lot of people. It's a lot of fun, especially on a good night, dude. I'm out there by that little outdoor bar, dude. It's a lot of fun, man. That's my hangout spot. And I'll go around, and see everything else and what have you. But I just like hanging out there, man. I try to get seats that are right there. So I just go and have a couple of drinks and I'll go and sit down for a little bit, then get back up and go to the bar again, So I'm just having a good time. And usually on the way home, we'll stop off somewhere as well. So I'm just having a good time that night.
Nice. Hey, when we do our karaoke night, we're going to have giveaways. I know that we have some memorabilia, some Victor Wembanyama memorabilia. We've got some, what are those pop? Is it what are those doll things?
Funko Pops.
Funko Pops. I was gonna say Poppets. Funko Pops. We have those that we can give away as well. And I might give away a couple of drinks. You know what I'm saying? Can we get Jeff Garcia out there? Can we get James Pledger out there?
I don't know. We'll see.
We're gonna be asking people, get out there in the cold. Everyone have a fantastic day. Joe, thank you so much for being a badass at what you do. Let's call it a show. You'll be back on Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow with a co-host of some sort. Let's make this happen tomorrow. This is the Area 210 podcast. We'll be back tomorrow, fellas. Hey, thank you all, everybody, for the super chats as well. Thank you for supporting what we do. And don't forget to hit the like button on the way out.